So a couple weeks back, I made a video speculating and making some educated guesses on exactly when we could expect to see DLC 3 and the return of the Aether storyline to Black Ops 4. And in the video, I think I made some pretty good educated guesses on the dates we could expect to see DLC 3. And what I actually came to the conclusion in that video is that we were expecting to see DLC 3 rather on June 11th or June 18th. Just one of those. It didn't really matter which one. I thought it was a pretty solid guess nonetheless for either of them, and that's just what we were expecting. But with information that's actually been revealed to us within the last few weeks or so, it looks like that's just not the case, and we're not even going to be getting a Zombies map anytime this month, and we're going to have to wait all the way till July to actually get DLC 3. Now I want to explain why this is the case, and to do that I first have to explain why we even thought we were going to be getting a Zombies map during June. And it has to do with Operation Spectre Rising and how it's just kind of weird how they went about handling it, because as we all know, Operation Spectre Rising started on April 30th, and the day before it actually went up, Treyarch did a live stream confirming there was not going to be a Zombies map during Operation Spectre Rising. And at first a lot of people were pretty upset with this, thinking that operations normally last 71 days, and it's been a while already since Ancient Evil came out, so how long are you planning to make us wait for DLC 3? I mean, another 71 days, it just seemed ridiculous. But then it seemed like there was a little good news, because when we actually got Operation Spectre Rising, we learned that this operation seemingly wasn't going to last 71 days, and instead it was going to be half the time of that, and was only going to last 34 days. And the reason we thought this, because when we went to go see the tiers in Black Ops 4, it said that you only had 34 days to complete them, and we thought, oh, that's the end of the operation, so it's actually not going to be that long of a wait for our next Zombies map. And that's where we actually added up 34 days to April 30th and realized that supposedly Spectre Rising was going to end on June 3rd, which would be tomorrow of recording this video. And of course, that's when Operation 5 was going to start and when we were going to get our next Zombies map. But of course, that's not how it all turned out, because it seems like Operation Spectre Rising is actually not ending. And I know this is a little bit of old information, but I don't really see anybody talking about this and really showing why this is a big deal, because as you guys may have seen, Treyarch actually tweeted out this, and you guys can see it on screen, saying that summer's coming, and of course tweeting out the date June 4th, which is again is 2 days from now, and when we expected to see our next operation, which we thought was going to be Days of Summer. But what's important about this is that if you actually scroll down to the comments, you can actually see someone asking, is Days of Summer the 5th operation, or is it just a part of Spectre Rising? And then Treyarch responded saying Days of Summer is our next seasonal game update that kicks off the second half of Operation Spectre Rising. Our 5th operation is planned to launch in July. And that pretty much confirms it, that 2 days from now is not the start of a new operation, and Days of Summer is not a new operation. What's really happening is that we're just kicking off the second half of Operation Spectre Rising, meaning we're not going to be getting a Zombies map anytime soon, because they have confirmed we are not getting a Zombies map during Operation Spectre Rising, and Operation Spectre Rising is barely at its halfway point. So it really is quite unfortunate. But even with that said, I do want to actually kind of figure out when we really could expect to be seeing DLC 3 all over again. Now, hopefully I'm not wrong this time, because you know, maybe they'll release even more information saying, oh wait, Spectre Rising Part 3, guys, or something like that. I don't know, but regardless, I do want to actually do a little speculation. The one way I thought we could figure this out is, since we're not getting a Zombies map during Spectre Rising, maybe we're going to get whichever operation, or let's just call it Operation 5, that's going to be starting in July, and that's when we're going to get our next Zombies map. So what I did was, since we know that the first half of Operation Spectre Rising was 34 days, all we got to do is add 34 days to June 4th, and then we should get the date that this operation is ending. And sure enough, we do, and it seems like the second half of Operation Spectre Rising is going to end on July 8th, meaning the next operation is going to start on July 9th. And assuming, and this is a huge assumption, but assuming that this is the case and that the very first day, which we know is not always the case because it's kind of been 50-50 so far, that a zombies map would launch on the same day as the launch of the operation, but assuming that's the case and we're getting DLC 3 the same day as Operation 5 starts, then we would expect to see DLC 3 on July 9th. And you may think, oh, well, I guess it's just a couple more weeks and whatever. And yeah, you can think like that, and maybe it's better to think like that. But unfortunately for me, I am not happy with this in the slightest, because you guys may have seen a video from me kind of complaining about how long it took for Ancient Evil to come out, because Dead of the Night actually came out sometime in December, and then it took all the way till March 26th for DLC 2 to come out. So DLC 1 was in December and DLC 2 was in late March. And if you guys actually add up all the dates between that, there was exactly 98 days between the launch of DLC 1 and DLC 2, which was ridiculous and was the longest we had seen between any zombies maps in the past. Because the average for the time between zombies maps launches was actually only 73 days, but unfortunately in Black Ops 4 that's just not the case, and they decided to up that by almost 30, making it 98, but that was already bad enough. But if you guys thought that was bad, well, I got even worse news for you, and I'm sure you guys already know where I'm going with this, because if you guys actually look at the difference between, and of course this is assuming that we are getting DLC 3 on July 9th, which we don't know because who knows what they're doing, but assuming that is the case and we are going to be getting DLC 3 on July 9th, then that would mean that Treyarch just broke the record all over again with the time between DLCs, because instead of taking the normal 73 days or even the 98 days that they did between DLC 1 and DLC 2, they decided to make it even worse. Again, assuming this is all true, that if you actually add the days between the launch of Ancient Evil or DLC 2, which was on March 26th, and add all the days between that and July 9th, it would mean that there's 105 days between these map launches. And just what? Excuse me? I mean, we were already upset with the time between DLC 1 and DLC 2, and that was a long 98 days was ridiculous. But you're upping that now. You're upping that to 105 days? Excuse me? Oh, whatever. I just don't care at this point. I don't care enough about this game, honestly, at this point. Okay, maybe that's a bit too much, but still, it's just so frustrating when we are waiting so long between zombies maps when we were expecting to see exactly the opposite. We thought we were going to get more zombies maps than ever. It's just really ridiculous if you ask me. I just don't like how they're handling this in the slightest, but regardless, I do want to say something that maybe will make up for the longest time between DLCs ever, and this has to do with some leaks that have been going around, but it seems like Treyarch 7 months, by the way, no, even 8 months now, after launch for Black Ops 4, are finally going to be putting in factions into zombies. Now, we don't know if that's actually the case. Honestly, it's probably not the case. We're never going to get factions, but maybe this could make up for this, that we're waiting this long, because maybe in 2 days' time, we're going to see factions introduced into zombies, which, I mean, I'd hope so. I mean, maybe they'll make up for it. Of course, that's assuming factions are actually good and not garbage, but regardless, I mean, if they don't release factions and they're not great, I just don't know what justification they have for having such long times in between their DLCs. It's just honestly would be ridiculous. But here's to us crossing our fingers that factions is going to be introduced in the first place, and crossing our fingers once again that it's actually going to be good. So anyways, that's about it for me. Tell me what you guys think about everything that I've said in this video. What do you think about the longest time in between DLC maps ever? What do you guys think about that? How they broke the record back-to-back DLC releases? But regardless, that's really all I could say. But if you guys did enjoy the video and you are interested in I don't know if it's going to be content similar to this, honestly. It's probably not going to be videos complaining about the time between release dates, but you know, I guess content in this area you could think of. But if you guys are interested in any of that, then go ahead and do all the normal YouTube stuff and like, subscribe, bell, share, and especially bell. But I'm going to go, and I'll catch you guys next stream, video, or whatever it may be. But laters, guys.